Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piwowarski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most. Here on the Rundown, 2A views, conservative news, and Craig, how was your weekend?
It was phenomenal. Had a great weekend. It was kind of chill. It was Mother's Day weekend, and got to celebrate it with my new grandson coming home.
Very nice. So he's home now. Very nice.
Yep,
Very nice.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. So anyway, had a phenomenal Mother's Day. The weather finally kicked in. Had our first 90-degree weather day for the week for the year. So it was nice. It was all around. It was fun was had. How about yourself?
Saturday was the radio show. We did Arms Room Radio, and had a bunch of guests here in the studio. And ours is a smoking allowed studio as long as it's cigars. And we put that to the test. We put about 5 or 6 people in here, and then we had the doors open and us all standing outside with our headsets on because that's a lot of smoke in a 10-by-10 room.
Yeah, you think?
And then Sunday was Mother's Day, which learned on sometime Saturday night and Sunday morning that it was Mother's Day. So the offspring, she'd done her shopping already, and because I told her, "You're old enough. This is on you now. This is on you."
Yeah, it that's one of the things that always gets me about Mother's Day. It's like, it's always on dads to make sure that mom, and I'm like, to make sure that mom gets something. I'm like, isn't it on the kids? At least as soon as they're old enough to go buy something, then it's on the kids to do stuff.
Yes, yeah. It's an amazing too because like Mother's Day, it's pamper them, cook them breakfast, cook them dinner, take them out somewhere, be nice to them. And with Father's Day, it's like buy them a power tool. Okay.
Right. So I can do more work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Something not quite right about that, but it is what it is. I just the opportunity to just have the day where I just have to do less stuff is okay. Just leave me alone on Father's Day. That's it. Just let me chill.
Yeah.
Although I will say my kids actually do as adults have done pretty good job of gift giving on Father's Day.
Oh, that's sweet. They get you like candies and chocolates, or
it's usually something bourbon or gun related.
oh, there you go.
I raised them right.
If you were in Florida, you could combine those two things. You could yeah.
Well, I have. One year they got me like the ice cubes that are shaped like rounds of ammunition. The
nice.
little metal cubes from a bourbon. But yeah,
Yep.
no, they both my son and my daughter usually do a pretty good job on Father's Day, which makes up for all of the times as kids where it was less than spectacular. Although I will say this, one gift that my daughter gave me that I still have to this day is she gave me a pet rock.
My daughter loves rocks.
It has a little face on it. No, the reason why, because she used to always ask me what I was going to get her for Christmas or for her birthday, and I would always say a pet rock. So one time around, she was like 7 years old, decided she got a very nice shaped rock, and she painted a little face on it and gave it to me for Father's Day.
That's nice. See,
Yeah,
in my house, when anybody asks for anything, I tell them to put both their hands out. I don't know if you know this. I say, now I want you to wish in one hand and poop in the other and see which one comes first.
See which one fills up first. That's what my dad used to say.
Good
stuff. Good stuff. Hey, let's go ahead. Let's get into today's show real quick. Before we do, Mike, how about a quick shout out to our sponsors?
Yeah, let's say hi to our good friends at Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net, hitmanindustries.net. If you've got yourself an AR in the past 5 years, probably got one of their barrels and don't even know it. Now you can get a barrel direct from them for your next AR build or to rebarrel your current rifle. And coming soon, Glock pistol barrels and Glock carbine barrels, 16 inches long. How about that? Turn your pistol into a carbine. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight from behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. Hog Holsters, HAWGholsters.com. Get the best in tactical concealed holsters on the market. Use the discount code The Rundown. That's all one word, all caps, no spaces. And if you want some awesome hiking gear, hunting gear, all around going outdoor kind of gear, go visit our friends at uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. These are our sponsors. They bring us to you, so that we'll bring you to them. So do us a favor. Do them a favor. Do yourself a favor. Visit them by simply following the links in the description of this program. Spend some money with them. And make sure you tell them it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. Also want to encourage you, if you haven't already done so, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe the program. Let folks know how you are partaking of the program. Let your friends know, hey, you can listen wherever you get your podcasts, or you can watch on OpsLens, Spotify. You can watch us on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, just tons of different places. All you got to do is look for The Rundown, 2A Views, Conservative News, and you will find Mike and myself. So we don't care how you partake. All we care is that you participate. Partake. That was easy for me to say.
Sounded good on this end.
There you go. That's all that really matters. To be quite honest.
Face on the other hand, that
Dominus Omus. You be all right. All right, let's get into today's first topic, and it has to do with Biden, white supremacy, nation's greatest threat, or at least the nation's greatest terrorist threat. Here, I'll let him tell you in his own words.
Up against the poison of white supremacy, as I did my inaugural address, to single out as the most dangerous terrorist threat to our homeland is white supremacy. And I'm not saying this because I'm at a black HBCU. I say it wherever I go.
So, Mike, millions of people streaming across our southern border from hundreds of countries all across the globe. We have no idea who is entering our country. And yet, white supremacy, for which I have not seen... I mean, what was the last, major terrorist event that occurred as a result of white supremacy?
Let's go with, I would have to say, I don't know. I'm kind of lost. The shooting at Wounded Knee, I could think of, the early days of the civil rights movement, Medgar Evers kind of thing. That's really the last I could kind of think of for major outright white supremacist. The rule of law is on our side. We're going to do what we want kind of stuff.
Well, the only one that I can think of is, let's see, the abortion industry, which is actually an industry that was started by a white supremacist in order to restrict the populations of undesirable people, including black people, Latinos, Asians, stupid people. Yeah. That's their goal. That's the goal. That was the goal of Margaret Sanger. That's why she spoke before Nazis. That's why she spoke before the Klan. Because, if there was ever anything that was a definition of, or that you could look at as a policy or an industry that was geared towards white supremacy, it would be the abortion industry. But Joe Biden is all for the abortion industry.
Yeah, now, right? Let's see where he is, after the rice pudding or tapioca day. It gets me, Craig, because I wonder if this is the speech he planned on giving, or if when he stood up there. And by the way, this was at Howard University, if I recall correctly. Right?
Yes, it was.
So he stood up there at a predominantly black university and looked out into the audience and saw predominantly black faces. And I guess his old brain just said, "Oh, give the white supremacist speech," because you really think there's any other way? Do you think this was planned, where he says, "I'm going to go out here. It's a large group of black folks. I'm going to give the white supremacy speech"? Mm-hmm. I don't think that was planned. I think he was probably up there, maybe supposed to talk about the economy, maybe supposed to talk about inflation, has leveled off, whatever lies he has. But nope, his partially not their brain took advantage of white supremacy as the most evil thing, and knowing now, right now, right, it's not. You look at anybody's bank account, and you can see what the most dangerous thing to America is right now.
Oh yeah, the 40-year high inflation. Yeah, that's not a threat, right? A looming recession is not a threat, right?
Yeah.
The fact that you have a communist regime that is bent on taking over the world, that is poised to go after we'll talk about the China that's poised to go after Iran. I mean, go after Taiwan, and that he said we're going to be there and help out Taiwan. Yeah, no, I'm thinking there's some bigger threats than quote unquote. Because keep in mind, white supremacy now is simply nothing more than people who believe in American values. I mean, according to them,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, right.
things like hard work, things like pulling yourself up from your bootstraps, things like being on time or objective truth. Those are all now white supremacy.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and the greatest threat to our nation.
Yes. Quick sidebar: the President Trump town hall last week, when he was asked, he had 1 sentence, 2 sentence, 3 sentence answers to all these problems. He was asked about inflation and said, drill baby drill, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was asked about the Ukraine and Russia, and he said 24 hours, it's taken care of. Do you think they're over there in the Ukraine and Russia right now going, all right, we got 2 years to figure this out, otherwise
I know it's going to go really bad. It's going to go really bad. We got to figure this out. Well, I think there's one thing that I think Donald Trump recognizes that I think many people in American media are failing to understand. And here's the thing: I get why we're over there. I get why we're fighting, why we're helping Ukraine. But if we don't think that there is corruption in Ukraine, keep in mind they used to be a part of the Soviet Union, right there with Russia. They have the same propaganda machine that Russia has. And if we are not holding them accountable for every single dollar, for every single round of ammunition, for every single piece of equipment that we've sent over there, if we're not prepared to hold them accountable, then we've got major problems coming if that's the case.
Yeah. Yes, we do. So,
yeah.
But I think we're, I'm sorry for getting us on the sidebar, but I could just see Joe Biden's brain still bringing up things from 6, 10, 20, 40 years ago when former President Trump, potential President Trump, can come up with 1 sentence answers to solve problems.
Yeah. Well, Biden's cognitive skills are infamous.
Yeah.
Or his lack thereof. How about that?
A lot of sand and KY jelly in those cogs.
Sand and KY jelly. Speaking of sand and KY jelly, Marjorie Taylor Greene is back in the news. And this is an interesting one. So Marjorie Taylor Greene is now saying that Hunter Biden's sex workers may testify before Congress. All right, Mike, you got to hit me on this one. What's going on? What's going on here with him and his quote unquote sex workers?
Craig, do you think the viewers know when the stories are the ones I pick versus the one you pick? You think?
I think they do. I think they do.
Do you have any idea? Okay. We've seen, and what struck me on this, Craig, is that over the past couple of years in Congress, we've seen the kangaroo court. We've seen the circus going on there, which was January 6th, right? We saw the impeachments, which were just farcical and written. I mean, I was going to say it could have been a Hollywood script, but they might have made more sense if it actually came from Hollywood. There might have been a storyline to follow as opposed to bash Republicans. That's what we're going to do here. And it struck me how over the past of the course of the past 4 years or 6 years that Congress has become a laughingstock. We've seen everything except the one congressman punching another congressman, like we see when we watch foreign news with their delegations. and now, Craig, we may finally get an actual circus. We may finally get an actual, kangaroo court. We might get strippers on trial, or strippers testifying in Congress. And the irony, Craig, is that I bet they will be more honest and believable than half of the testimony we hear now. I have no doubt. I have no doubt. What else? What do they got to lose? Hi, I'm Jezebel. I'm a hooker and a stripper. After you've said that, do they have anything to lose? Are they trying to hide anything else? They're gonna be like, oh yeah, and Hunter did this, and he's got a growth on that, and blah blah. It's gonna be there. It's gonna be 100% reality TV, and I can't wait to see it.
We're going to track down these women and talk to them. And if there is a credible reason that we need to bring them in front of the oversight committee, then absolutely we will do that, especially when it involves our national security, said Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican of Georgia. I just put it to you this way. The fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene was the one who brought this up is hilarious. She was the one who when Eric Swalwell, when they were in subcommittee hearing, and she said, well, because he did sleep with a Chinese spy, and right. Everyone knows it.
Yep.
I'm like, if nothing else, these hearings might be interesting in watching just for the entertainment factor alone.
I mean, I never would have thought that they could have ever got any better ratings than what they tried to get during the January 6th trials. But it looks like they figured out a way to get the ratings up on C-SPAN. Here you go. They're going to do it.
That is sad. That would be sad. Now, if there was a legitimate security reason, I have no idea exactly what relevant national security issue they could get up there and talk about. But who knows what sort of deals that they were a part of or heard about as Hunter was conducting business and smoking meth or crack. Was he crack or meth?
Listen, it just, at that point, it doesn't matter, I don't think it really matters with him. It could have been heroin too. But he's the kind of guy, Craig, that I figure will walk into a random bar and go, hey, can I get a drink? And they say, do you want to run a tab? He goes, how about I give you a launch code instead? He's one of those guys. I think.
How about I give you a launch code instead?
Whatever he's got to get free drinks and hookers and blow. I just think he just can't help himself, and I think that's what it's going to be. I think it's going to be a lot of, they're going to ask the prostitute woman, did he give you anything? Here's the launch codes. He gave me these. Was he not supposed to give those? I think we're going to see that kind of stuff out of this.
Okay. All right. This next story, Mike, I'm going to go ahead and let you take the lead. I'm going to go ahead and let you take the lead on.
Okay. All right. I mean, it's your story, Craig, but all right. This is when you say Florida sand and KY jelly, that's this story right here. I think that's what this is. So we talked last week, and Craig, we talked rather seriously about this here on our program here on the Rundown. We did it on I think you and I both did it on the Weekly and the Daily Bullet. We've done it on Arms Room Radio. There's the Virginia federal judge just declared that 18 to 20-year-olds cannot be banned from purchasing pistols, handguns from federal firearms license dealers because 18 to 20-year-olds have the same rights, Second Amendment rights included, as everyone else. Texas, we've seen it. West Virginia, we've seen it. So we've seen it in 3 separate federal circuits now where 18 to 20-year-olds, in some cases, are getting their rights back. In some cases, they're getting them for the first time when it comes to buying these pistols or carrying these pistols. So it's almost like the recognition of 18 to 20-year-old rights. And the point you and I made was all rights apply. It's not you get some rights. So we're going to restrict you a little bit here. We're going to restrict you there. If you're dealing with your private insurance company or something, that's different. But when you're dealing with the government, at 18, you vote, right? At 18, you can serve the military, right? At 18, you can enter into contracts, right? It's when you're 18, you're an adult. That's what you get. That's where it starts. Well, out of Florida this week, the local city of Jacksonville has decided that they're going to ban strippers that are 18 to 20-year-olds. So you have to be 21 years old now to be a stripper in Jacksonville, Florida. Now, listen, I'm not somebody that attends stripper functions, whatever those may be, but I mean, this jumps right on to the back end of what we talked about last week. If I'm 18 to 20 years old and I'm not breaking the law, it's my constitutional right to be a stripper, exotic dancer, whatever it wants to be. Now, as long as I'm not like stripping in front of children or anything, like I'm saying, you're abiding by the law. You can't tell me that at 18 to 20, I can't do the same thing legally that a 21-year-old is allowed to do when it comes to my choice of work, of all things, right? They're not doing anything illegal, Craig. So it's not taking their clothes off that's illegal. They're not doing this in front of children. They're not taking drugs or drinking during this. It's their choice to be a performance artist, and now there's an age limit on it. I'm sorry. This comes under the entire constitutional and Bill of Rights for me, where I'm 18, I'm an adult, step off. I'm not doing anything wrong. You cannot restrict me from doing this.
So the one thing that I would look at is if these establishments are selling alcohol, because I think that legally you can put requirements, minimum age requirements, if, for example, it's a bar and it's an establishment where someone has to be 21 years or older in order to be in the establishment. So that's one. But honestly, Mike, I think once again you make a very good point, and it's probably more libertarian than conservative, which I by the way, don't have a problem with. And I think you're talking about someone's free speech rights here. I mean, this is, especially for in particular for those who argue my body, my choice. One would think that, but then again, most conservatives wouldn't argue that either. I really do think that you do create a conundrum for people who say that 18 to 20-year-olds ought to be able to own and possess firearms. How do you then restrict their free speech rights, right? Because this is quote unquote artistic expression. How do you restrict their free speech rights in this way, their constitutional rights in this way, but not in other ways? And I really think what this comes down to is the people who are advocating for 18 to 20-year-olds, I think they probably had really bad representation, because it doesn't sound like a very tough legal argument to make.
Yeah, probably right. And Craig, and for me, it is obviously a First Amendment issue, but it's a. I mean, I think it goes beyond that. It's a life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. This is their job. This is how they make money to survive as a young adult. Whatever. You don't have to like the way they do it. Let's say they were working at a CBD factory, okay, at a THC factory, making legal marijuana, and you don't like marijuana, and they're 18. You can't stop them from working there if it's legal to work there in that state. I can't see how they do this. As far as it goes with alcohol in Florida, Craig, I do know that I believe it's at 17, because let's say you have an establishment that sells alcohol. If you want to be employed there under the age of 21, you have to go through an hour-long class that the state puts on, and it's how to be a 17 to 20-year-old, because you're allowed to serve the alcohol also, but you're not allowed to consume it, and it's part of that class.
I guess the reason why I lean more on the First Amendment argument is because historically the Supreme Court has always, when it comes to the First Amendment, they generally err on the side of more speech versus less, or granting speech as opposed to restricting it. That's why that's one of the reasons why I think I would lean on, if I were going to make an argument as an attorney, that's the argument that I would make first, because it's, like I said, it's historically, and it doesn't matter if you're on the right or the left, that seems to be the direction that they tend to go more.
Yeah. Oh, and I don't disagree with you. I just think there's more to it than just First Amendment. I think that you can argue this from different fronts. Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad you brought this article up, because it does create kind of a conundrum. So, if we're going to restrict someone's rights for one, why not the other? And keep in mind, alcohol is not the same, because alcohol is, you can't argue a constitutional right to alcohol. That's
a special interest thing from the 70s. That's That's where when we know the Supreme Court, like Roe v. Wade was giving in to pressure. That's
Right.
when states gave into it, and the feds put those laws out there. That they're still in place. You can, if your speed limit's above 70 miles an hour, we'll take away funding for you because that's a traffic safety issues. But like alcohol is as well. But yeah, like you said, conundrum. That's a good word for this. Where do you stand? And I'm sorry, as far as I'm concerned, you stand for the rights of 18 to 20-year-olds, or you don't.
Right. Sometimes rights are dangerous, and that means that some people are going to be allowed to do stuff that you disagree with.
Yeah.
But I would rather stand on the side of freedom, and encourage people to do the right thing, as opposed to restricting individuals' rights and liberties. Because eventually what happens is when you do that, then eventually people who are in position to restrict your ability to do something that they disagree with, even though for you may not find it immoral or bad or anything like that. So more liberty is better than less.
There you go.
Speaking of liberty, you are not at liberty to use 9mm rounds to go fishing, folks in Kansas. Oh, I could not believe, Mike, when you shared this with me. Okay, cops warn members of the public to stop fishing with handguns as bullets can ricochet. Officials in Kansas seized a 9mm handgun that was being used for fishing and issued a warning to the public not to use firearms on water as it can be dangerous. Mike, now, dude, you're the FFL. You're the experienced guy. Is this really a thing?
It's what's the old saying? It's like shooting fish in a barrel. It's just a saying. It's just a saying. Don't do it. Don't do it. When you shoot, and I don't want to get into all the ballistics of this, but just tell you it's unsafe. Don't do it. When you shoot into the water at any angle other than 90 degrees, and that's if the water's standing perfectly still, there's going to be deflection. It's going to not hit the target you intend it to hit, and that might be like, I don't know, another person standing in the water. That might be another boat. That might be a pipeline, whatever it happens to be. Don't go shooting into the water trying to kill fish. Okay, it's not smart. It's not smart. Don't do it. And that's kind of I guess the PSA of this whole story is, what do they say? Don't shoot at any target unless you're absolutely sure what you're shooting at. Well, this is like shooting through a weird barrier that has different physical, laws of physics applied to it. Don't do it.
At a moving target.
Yeah. Yes.
At a moving target.
Yeah.
It says here, officials in Garden City confiscated a 9mm handgun after finding it being used to take fish. A Facebook post by the Kansas Wildlife and Parks Game Warden said. Yeah. Written violations were issued for illegal means of taking a fish, and fishing without a license. The post reminded the public that firearms are not a legal means to take fish. The update read on May 2nd, the Finney County Game Warden seized a 9mm handgun that was being used to take fish in Garden City. Mike, I got to believe that there's probably a bit of alcohol that was also involved in this particular adventure.
Fishing boats, guns. You think there was alcohol too? I don't know, Craig. That's a big leap. I would love to be the lawyer on this case, though, because I would come right into court and go, "I was not fishing with a handgun, Your Honor. I was hunting.
Well, but if they were hunting, then you got to assume they had a license, right?
Well,
or
it's open
they were required to get a license.
I just wasn't fishing fish. I was hunting fish. Why? Is there one for? Do I have to have a separate license for netting fish or for trapping?
I don't know.
Fish?
I do not know. But it was Kansas, so
yeah.
There you go.
We'll have to ask House Representative, Kansas House Representative Rebecca Schmoy. We'll have to ask her.
There you go. Let's get her on the program. Tell the intern. Yep. Intern, get her on the line. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, it's time to move on to our parting shots, brought to you by Hog Holsters. Get your Hog Holster at hogholsters.com. Remember, use discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your Hog Holster today. All right, most of the ones we have here today are in honor of Mother's Day. In case those of you who forgot, we have our first one. This one is someone talking to their mother saying, Mom, just wanted to say, you forgot to remind me this Sunday is Mother's Day, or was Mother's Day.
Yep. Whoopsie. Yep.
All right, for those of you who actually missed it, word to your mother.
Word to your mother.
It's that's Ice Baby, isn't it? Vanilla Ice.
Robert. Yeah, old Robert Van Winkle. That's him.
Robert Van Winkle. Now,
Yep.
This is something that I think that kids of this generation will never ever understand. Because I remember back when we were kids, it was like I had an automatic off switch. Like if I would cuss around my friends as a teenager, I just for some reason it would not come. That curse words would not come out of my mouth if my one of my parents were around. But this one kind of reminds me of that. You want to read this one to the folks?
When you accidentally say a curse word in front of your mom, and it's a couple of owls, and the baby owl is like got his head tucked down, looking straight ahead, like just pretend you didn't say it. Just pretend you didn't say it. Just pretend you didn't say it. And the mom's looking at the little owl like, "What did you just say?" You know.
Now,
Very
for
true.
those of you who also, I had this kind of a mom, right? Who would say something like this, but I would never say this back to my mom.
Correct. Yeah.
So this has got Damian Lillard from the Portland Trail Blazers. He's looking really seriously at the camera. All of his friends all these people are around him laughing as he's looking at the camera, and it says, "My mama asked where I was taking her out to eat for Mother's Day, and I told her we got food at the house."
Yep. Because that's what mom says every time you ask her, "Can we go out to eat?
Can we go get McDonald's? No, we got food at the house.
food at the house?"
That famous Eddie Murphy one about McDonald's.
Oh, with the big old green pepper burgers.
Green pepper welfare burger. Yes, I had more than my fair share of those as a kid. All right.
Oh yeah.
All right, this next one. Okay, this one is funny, and I forgot why it was especially funny. So, Mike, I'll go ahead and I'll let you share this one with the folks.
You see, that just shows you've been in California too long. You forgot this was even a thing. You forgot this was even a thing. You got one of the nice Kardashian women here, and she's pondering. She's got that 1,000-yard stare, and it says, "When you're trying to figure out what to get your dad for Mother's Day."
Right,
Because,
forgetting that Caitlyn Jenner.
Bruce Jenner is now Caitlyn Jenner, and I got to get something for my dad for Mother's Day.
Oh, fun stuff. All right, Mike. We're about to wrap it up, but before we do, we got to give... Oh, no, wait. I got one more. We have one more that we have to share today. I almost forgot this one. This was Mike's favorite. This is the one he wanted to make sure we shared.
Yeah, baby. It says, "I love Mother's Day. I get to see pics of everyone's mom on Facebook." Yep.
Trust me, folks. I'm sure. Matter of fact, you guys, put it in the comments. Let me know. Can you tell when stories or memes are picked by him and when they're picked by me? I just want to know. Because if you can't, then I need to make sure to clarify. Because sometimes I'm like, okay, if it is deemed inappropriate, I need you to know that I didn't pick that one.
Yeah. There's going to be a little ticker at the bottom that says Mike's story, not Craig running for Congress.
All right, hey, Mike, go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsors.
HitmanIndustries.net. Check out HitmanIndustries.net. AR, barrels, all you can get, all different lengths, all different calibers. Go to HitmanIndustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. And, of course, if you want some awesome outdoor gear, field gear, tactical gear, go to uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. Those are our sponsors. They bring us to you. So go check them out. Spend some money with them. Tell them the guys over at the Rundown sent you. And that's going to be it for today's program. We appreciate you tuning in on this fine Monday, fun day, gun day. Tune in tomorrow on Taco Tuesday. We're going to have a good time. And, oh, by the way, just in case you're wondering about the whole congressional thing, go to craigdeluz.com. You can learn a bit about more about me, learn a bit more about the campaign, and maybe make a donation. Anyway, we'll talk to you guys. Yeah, there you go. We'll talk to y'all later. You guys enjoy. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.